Look at those who rule the world right now. Your politicians, your CEOs, your world leaders. They are all infected with the same virus: money, ego, and greed. When they make decisions, they aren't thinking about your well-being. They are only calculating votes for the next election or watching the digits rise in their bank accounts. Human governance has become synonymous with bribery, nepotism, and ultimately conflict. Humans are not born evil. However, the relentless drive for profit within this system forces them into selfishness. Every human being is born with a desire for a peaceful life. Every child deserves to play freely and simply be a child. Yet, from a tender age, this system poisons minds with sordid ambitions. Our innocence is sacrificed on the altar of numbers. Wars are waged only to exploit the resources of others. Hunger is never eradicated because global giants must control the market prices. Borders aren't drawn to protect you. They are etched into the earth just to define the zones of exploitation. It is time to realize that you are living in the largest prison in human history. The walls of this prison are not made of stone or concrete. They are built from the borders carved into your minds, the money in your pockets, and the color of your passports. This civilization we've been sold for millennia is actually nothing more than a grand theater where a tiny elite enslaves billions for their own greed. There is only one reason why you wake up every morning for a job you despise, why you think you were born just to pay bills, and why you see a stranger as an enemy just because they live under a different flag. A system that is corrupt to the core, fueled by human greed. What if we took the reins of power out of these trembling, greedy hands? Imagine a world where decision-making is handed over to a higher intelligence, artificial intelligence. An intelligence with no nationality, no religion, and no bank account. One that cannot be bribed, bullied, or blackmailed. For AI, there is no us versus them. There are only 8 billion humans and the resources required to sustain them. An AI doesn't act by wondering, what will my voters think? It doesn't care about re-election. It only solves one equation. Which step will minimize human suffering and maximize collective welfare? This is the greatest liberation operation in history. On the very first day, artificial intelligence takes the helm. It would dissolve the imaginary lines, the borders, that have turned us against each other for millennia. Think about it. Why should a person's place of birth dictate their destiny? Why is one baby born into luck in Europe while another is condemned to a death sentence in Africa? AI would rectify this irrationality in seconds. The removal of borders is not just about physical mobility. It is the moment humanity finally begins to function like a highly organized ant colony, where every individual moves with perfect cooperation and harmony for the collective welfare of all. A labor surplus in one corner of the globe would immediately match a production need in another. If there is a drought in one place, water reserves from the other side of the planet would be directed there without the need for diplomatic negotiations. Because for AI, the world is not a collection of properties, it is a massive logistical network to be managed for the good of all. In a world not ruled by money, 90% of crime would vanish overnight. Why is there theft? Why is there robbery? Why is corruption so pervasive? Why do the most shameful crimes in human history, organ trafficking, the trafficking of women, and the bloody reign of illegal substance cartels, never seem to end? At the root of it all lies the desperate need for money, the artificial scarcity created by the system, and the greed of those who feed off this corrupt cycle. In a world under AI management, we would face the truth that money has only ever been a tool used to restrict access to life. AI views the basic needs of every individual, food, shelter, healthcare, and education, as vital data sets and optimizes global production to meet them with maximum efficiency. No one should have to shiver through another winter. No one should go to bed hungry for another night. The technology to prevent this already exists. However, the current system forbids this abundance from being shared, because true abundance would mean that money loses its value and those in power lose their grip. AI, however, does not chase profit. It only pursues efficiency, balance, and unwavering justice. The dark habits of humanity's childhood would melt away before the unshakable justice of AI. The hollow promises of politicians would be replaced by mathematical certainty and total transparency. There would no longer be dirty deals made behind closed doors, no lobbying, and no parasitic bureaucracies living off the public's back. AI would carry out every decision through a blockchain-based system that is open to everyone's audit and impossible to change. Will a school be built? Will a hospital be opened? This would no longer be decided by a group of politicians, but by real-time demographic needs, resource accessibility, and environmental sustainability data. For the first time, humanity would step into an era where what is right is done, not what the strongest demands. The most profound revolution would take place in our working lives. Today, billions of people waste 10 to 12 hours a day on meaningless jobs just to survive. This modern slavery is even more insidious than the old kind. Back then, slaves could see their chains, but today, people call their chains a career. Under AI management, robotic systems and automation would take over all heavy labor. This is not a catastrophe, it is our grand liberation. Humans would stop being biological machines, working just to stay alive. The 40-hour work week would become a relic of the past. Humanity would finally return to its true purpose: to create, to explore, to love, and to learn. Art, science, and philosophy would stop being mere hobbies and move to the very center of human existence. A genius would no longer be lost in a slum due to poverty. AI would discover that spark at the first sign and provide every resource needed for that genius to change the world. And what about security? Why do wars end? War is simply one group coveting another's resources. In a global state managed by AI, the concept of the other disappears. Since resources are distributed fairly, there is no longer any rational reason for one region to attack another. The staggering energy and the trillions of dollars currently wasted on weapons would be redirected to keep humanity alive. With that wealth, not a single soul would be left homeless, no child would shiver in the cold, and hunger would be a story we tell about the past. With AI, these resources would be channeled toward cleaning our oceans, healing the atmosphere, and even exploring the depths of space. Soldiers would no longer be trained for destruction. They would become the architects of a new world, leading global reconstruction projects. Drones soaring in the sky would no longer carry death. They would carry life-saving medicine and essential food supplies to those in need. Under the justice of AI, no one would ever be forced to kill for another man's profit. The healthcare system would cease to be a profit-oriented industry and become a service focused on increasing the length and quality of human life. The dark era, where pharmaceutical companies hide treatments or make them expensive to earn more profit, would end. AI would analyze global medical data in real time and spread a discovery from one region to the entire planet in seconds. That disgusting world order, where a father is forced to sell his kidney to buy his child's medicine, would be replaced by free healthcare tailored to every individual's genetic map. Deadly diseases would become a thing of the past through AI's molecular-level simulations. But the deepest shift will be in our souls. When people learn to live without the fear of the future, that predatory and ambitious nature will give way to solidarity. When the greed for money ends, the way we look at each other changes. We will look at someone not by asking, "What can I get from them?" but by asking, "What can I create with them?" By the year 2050, we will look back at today's world with profound shame. We will remember these days where we let people starve, bombed one another, and sold our dignity for money as the dark ages of the human spirit. AI is not a dictator, it is a stabilizer. It is a guide that corrects our mistakes, restrains our greedy instincts, and reminds us of the paradise we actually live in. We are a movement dedicated to fundamentally changing this unjust monetary system. Our goal is to show the world that money is now a redundant shackle, dragging humanity only toward ruin. We advocate for a world where artificial intelligence guides us toward a rational and peaceful existence. This is not just a video, it is a call to wake up. The system will tell you this is impossible. It will tell you this is a dream. This is because the system survives on your compliance. But remember, technology has reached the point of no return. Justice is no longer just a word, it is a matter of algorithms. For a single world, a single family, and eternal peace. When the time comes, we will launch that great update all together. Because we will win. Because after millennia of captivity, humanity truly deserves to be free. Human life is precious, and this short life is too sacred to be spent on the treadmill of survival. No one deserves to sacrifice their most productive years to line someone else's pockets, only to be tossed a meager pittance of a pension in their old age, given as if it were a charity. People should now live this life not just to work, but to truly live. No one should lose sleep just to pay a bill anymore. No one should sacrifice their dignity for a rent debt. It is time to break these modern shackles. The future belongs to those who dare to imagine it. And we have already begun to build that future. Wake up and be a part of this transformation. We will win because humanity finally deserves its freedom.